You're sitting on the floor of a dark living room at 2 in the morning, listening to a baby monitor and panicking that your spouse is about to take your kids across the country. You're packing a duffel bag because you think moving out tomorrow means you're abandoning your family. Before you load that trunk, you need to know how a judge actually decides who gets the kids. Consider a guy named Mike. Mike worked a rotating shift at a manufacturing plant. His wife, Sarah, worked a standard daytime schedule as a dental assistant. When they split up, Sarah immediately filed a motion. A motion is just a formal request asking the judge to make a specific ruling. She demanded sole physical custody. Physical custody simply means who the kids actually live with on a daily basis. She told the judge that Mike's rotating shifts made him completely unfit to parent. She said he couldn't possibly provide a stable routine. Mike was terrified. He thought the judge would immediately hand the kids to Sarah just because she had a more predictable schedule. But when they finally stood in front of the judge, the outcome wasn't what Sarah demanded. The judge didn't give Sarah sole physical custody. Instead, the judge ordered a joint physical custody arrangement. Joint physical custody means the kids live with both parents on a rotating schedule. The judge actually ordered a true 50-50 split. Mike kept the kids during his days off and Sarah kept them during hers. How did that happen? Why didn't the predictable daytime schedule automatically win? The judge used a specific set of rules to decide. Once you understand these rules, you'll know exactly how this process works, and you'll see why moving out of your house doesn't mean you're giving up your kids. Every single custody decision in America revolves around one specific phrase. The judge calls it the best interests of the child. This isn't just a neat slogan, it's a strict legal standard. A legal standard is the measuring stick a judge uses to make a decision. The judge literally looks at a list of factors, adds them up, and decides what outcome keeps the kids the most safe and the most stable. Notice what isn't on that measuring stick. What's best for the parents isn't on the list. The judge doesn't care that Mike wanted a different work shift. The judge doesn't care that Sarah wanted to move away for a fresh start. The judge only cares about the kids. The court's only job is figuring out what keeps the children healthy, safe, and emotionally supported. Let's look at the first factor a judge checks. It's the emotional ties between the parent and the child. Emotional ties are just a clinical way of describing who the kids actually go to when they skin a knee, or who helps them with their math homework. A judge will look at who takes the kids to the doctor. A judge looks at who goes to the parent-teacher conferences. The court looks at who coaches their weekend sports team. In Mike's case, Sarah argued she was the primary caretaker. A primary caretaker is the parent who handles most of the daily chores for the kids. She cooked most of the meals and washed the school uniforms. But Mike brought in his own evidence. Mike brought text messages proving he stayed home with the kids every single weekend while Sarah went out with her friends. Mike brought pay stubs showing he paid for their private baseball league. He showed the judge he was deeply involved in their daily lives. If you're sitting in the dark wondering how you'll prove you're a good parent, start looking at your text messages, your bank statements, and your daily calendar right now. You need proof of your daily involvement. The next factor is the physical and mental health of the parents. A judge needs to know if you can actually handle the physical demands of raising a child. If you've a severe medical condition that prevents you from getting out of bed, the judge has to consider that. But don't panic if you're just dealing with the normal aches and pains of a blue-collar job. A bad back doesn't disqualify you from being a father. However, if you've untreated substance abuse issues, or if you've severe unmanaged mental health conditions, the judge will flag that immediately. The court might order an evaluation. If you leave the house, you must text the other parent constantly asking to see the kids. You must pay for their school lunches from your new apartment. You must drive by the house just to drop off a coat. You must build a mountain of evidence showing the judge that you moved out, but you never moved away from your responsibilities. If you leave the house and disappear for 3 months, the judge will absolutely hold that against you. You don't lose your kids by changing your address. You lose your kids by disappearing. Judges also look at the willingness of each parent to foster a relationship with the other parent. This is a trap many angry parents fall into. If you're constantly bad-mouthing your ex in front of the kids, the judge will find out. The court calls this parental alienation. Parental alienation is when one parent tries to destroy the child's relationship with the other parent. If you tell your kids their mother is a terrible person, or if you refuse to let your ex talk to the kids on the phone, the judge will punish you. The court wants to see 2 adults who can put their anger aside. The judge wants to see you encourage the kids to love their other parent. If you actively block visitation, the judge might flip the entire custody arrangement against you. Sometimes, a parent tries to win by making false accusations. A parent might claim the other parent is abusive just to get an edge in court. Judges see this behavior constantly. If a judge figures out you fabricated a story, your credibility drops to zero. Credibility is simply whether the judge believes you're telling the truth. If you lie about a major issue, the judge will stop believing everything you say. If your case is highly contentious, the court might appoint a specific professional. This person is called a guardian ad litem. A guardian ad litem is an independent investigator assigned by the court to represent the kids. They don't work for you, and they don't work for your ex. They conduct interviews, visit your house, and talk to your kids' teachers. Then they write a massive report for the judge. The judge relies heavily on this report because the investigator has no reason to lie. If you get a guardian ad litem, you must treat them with absolute respect. Their report can make or break your entire future. You need to know that custody orders aren't permanent stone tablets. A judge can always modify the arrangement later. To modify means to officially change the existing court order. If you lose primary custody today, it doesn't mean you lose it forever. If your shift changes to a stable day schedule, you can go back to court and ask for a new arrangement. You just have to prove that a significant change in circumstances occurred. A significant change in circumstances is a major life event that makes the current custody arrangement obsolete, like a severe medical emergency or a massive career shift. The court doesn't want you filing a motion every other week, but they understand that life changes quickly. All of these rules sound intimidating, but they exist to protect your kids. The judge doesn't care about your broken heart. The judge cares about the daily reality of your children. If you're working a tough job and doing your best to show up for your family, the court will see that. Keep your text messages respectful. Keep your apartment clean. Keep showing up to the school events. The legal system looks at your consistent actions over time. At some point in this grueling process, you'll likely need professional help. You should absolutely get a lawyer if your ex makes claims about your mental health or if they falsely accuse you of a crime. You need a lawyer if your ex suddenly hides the kids or if they try to move out of state without asking the court first. Don't try to navigate a complex legal battlefield entirely alone if the other side is playing dirty. Find a local family law attorney. Find someone who knows the specific judges in your county. A local lawyer knows exactly what your local court cares about the most. What is the absolute most ridiculous reason your ex gave for trying to keep the kids away from you? Tell me down in the comments below. If this breakdown gave you the actual playbook for fighting for your family, pass this video along to a buddy who is losing sleep over losing his kids. And make sure you subscribe to Scribble Law so you always know the exact rules of the game before an angry ex tries to use the legal system against your family.